All right. Peace and greetings, YouTubers. So FN Meka. Can we talk about it? I got a chance to read some of the articles in relation to the controversy and kickback that was coming from the announcement that FN Meka had been signed to Capitol Records. To sum things up, FN Meka is a digitally created entertainer. Some will call it like an AI entertainer, like artificial intelligence. And so he was created by these two. Right? And so he's a rapper, and pretty much, let's just start with the imaging first, all right? We take a look at the rapper, right? Because this is supposed to be a rapper, and of course, in the modern day and times, especially with the music industry, and especially after all the commercial exploitation, the industry has created a space where there's literally only one or two images that can exist for a rapper. And so now we have this image of the rapper that has pretty much all of the token elements that you can piece together to make the ultimate street cred rapper, right? And so, mind you, I don't buy into any of this. I'm just mocking how the industry operates. And so we're looking, and okay, I'm looking at the picture. I'm like, okay, I can't really tell what he is. I don't know if he's black or not. But I do know that the music industry doesn't like black people, but they love the black aesthetic and black culture and proximity to blackness. But they also understand that white artists or artists who are not black are more marketable doing black things than black people are, because the industry only wants pieces of blackness but not the black people. So I'm not sure if he's supposed to be racially ambiguous or whatever he is, but whatever. So that's one piece I noticed, and then I'm like, okay, they have the big gold chain, all right, that's what, you know, the rappers need the jewelry and everything. Okay, they got the chain, the face tattoo, okay, all right, that gives them some extra edge, all right, getting spicy now. Okay, they have the locks or braids, but I think these are supposed to be locks. I mean, they look like braids, I don't know. But okay, they got the locks, but not only that, we're gonna make them green, okay? Because we really gotta mix it up. Because again, if this is gonna be a rapper that's almost, I guess, racially ambiguous or white with just a really good tan, then, you know, we really have to really make them even seem more street than the ones that are actually on the street. You know what I mean? Like, we gotta make them seem like just the baddest on the block, where nobody can question, you know, just how genuine they are or the authenticity of their imaging. So we gotta really do it. So okay, we got the green locks, we got the face tat, we got the gold chain. Oh, and if you've seen the video, they can do the moonwalk. All right, they got the moonwalk, and of course they say the N-word. I knew that part was coming. I knew that was gonna be the first thing he added. All right, make sure he say the N-word about 30 times in all the music. And so it's almost like, remember like Power Rangers when they had the Zords? You know, you had the Mastodon, the Pterodactyl, and all that, but all the Zords would combine to make the Megazord, and then the Megazord would beat up the bad guy. Or like Captain Planet, where they had the different powers, but when they combine them, it's Captain Planet. Same thing it looks like that they did with this. Like, okay, we're gonna make the ultimate rapper and market him. So all right, let's combine all the elements: gold chain, face tat, you know, locks, N-word, moonwalk, activate, like just some kind of nonsense. And so what happened is there was a lot of controversy because people started going back and looking at the videos. And so there's like a song where, you know, they're using the N-word. And the reason why the N-word is such an issue in all of this is, one, this is not a real freaking person, right? It's computer generated, but look who it's computer generated by. And then look at the image that they're trying to push and pursue as reality in relation to the experience of those who have proximity to blackness or who live within black spaces. That's where the real criticism comes from, because it's like, what kind of nonsense is this right here? But the part that got me the most is, then he gets beat up by the police, right? Because he didn't snitch. This is all in like the videos and the songs that they're talking about. I'm just like, it's so interesting that people take the tidbits of the black experience that they want to profit from, but then they don't address the actual issues that, again, are detrimental to black people collectively, but profitable for others. So something like police brutality, which has not gone anywhere. I know 2020 was the year that everybody thought, oh, we had a great reckoning, and yeah, we got a few police to take a knee, and we did the electric slide at the end, and Nancy Pelosi and them, they also took a knee, and somebody had to help Nancy up after 8 minutes on that knee. People just felt like, oh, everything was all good. Nothing has changed. We're still in the same nonsense in regards to conversations around police brutality. You're seeing what's happened with everything that's been announced in regards to Breonna Taylor and how they covered the entire thing up. And it's funny because when I addressed it, when it all happened, all of America came to fight me, especially white America. Couldn't wait to come and fight and paint Breonna Taylor to be this terrible person and blah, 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 blah. And here we are a few years later, and people are going to jail for trying to cover this whole thing up. That's another conversation. But again, not much has changed in regards to police brutality. We're seeing just story after story. I just saw the clip of the cop that pulled the gun out on the pregnant woman with her kids because she tried to get to a well-lit area before she pulled over. So nothing has changed in that aspect. When you talk about just the lack of resources in certain neighborhoods, none of that stuff has changed. It's still the same S-word show, you know what I mean? And so it's interesting that, you know, they'll latch on to the bits and pieces that they think are marketable and then push it to us and pass it off as music. And stuff like that is what gets under my skin, because I've always felt this way since I was a teenager. Everybody knows the music industry loves the idea of blackness, black culture, black everything. Black is cool, just not the people. And this is why even when you look at the commercial success of a lot of big entertainers that are not black, but kind of dip and dab into things that would be deemed associated with black culture, black music, black everything, look how successful they are. And this is not to attack different entertainers, but we understand that when it comes to marketing and when it comes to commercial exploitation and what's pushed around the world, there's a certain kind of image and a look that the industry wants, but there's certain people who don't fit that image. However, everything that they bring to the table fits perfectly within that product. So let's get all of that product, but put a different image and push it out there. And so to have these two, this Asian man, this white man, who I'm sure are hip hop heads, they love rap music, but that's one of the other problems. People who love black culture automatically feel that they can latch into all elements and aspects of it and just do any and everything. And there's a conversation about respect for people's plight. And people are going to say, oh, well, you know, rap music is now universal. It's not just a black thing. I get that. So if that's the case, then why is this automated, whatever this thing is, using the N-word? Why is this having the experience of, you know, being beat down by the police because they didn't snitch? Like, y'all know what y'all are doing. Y'all picking and choosing the most, you know, extreme tropes and stereotypes that you can piece together to create this image. And it's really a money play. And it goes back to just one of the beasts I've had with the industry for a really long time. The fact that this thing got signed to Capitol Records, when you have tons and tons of hungry rappers out there right now trying to get on. You know, and when I say hungry, like, understand, because we're now in a space where a lot of people can make their own music, a lot of people are really like doing their own thing and making their own albums or trying to start their own smaller labels and trying to get distribution deals and so on and so forth. There are tons of people that are hungry for it, that have the talent. And again, I think for hip hop, which in my opinion is probably one of the most oversaturated genres when it comes to indie artists that are trying to get on, so many acts to choose from. But the labels recognize they can make more money with this little computer thing because, again, all the profits would go to the label and maybe, I guess, these two and the producers. But as far as having to pay the actual artist, you don't really need an estate for a robot. So, hey, this is a great cash, you know, cow for the label. It's kind of like Walmart when they realize, okay, instead of pissing off everybody and only having 2 registers open for 30 cash registers and you got 200 people standing in line, why don't we just start having self-checkout? We'll just get rid of the employees and we'll have self-checkout, and, you know, that'll save us some money because we don't have to, you know, pay wages for people, because the machines, we just do the maintenance every few months and boom, we got it. And so now we fast forward to 2022, 2023, you're not really waiting in line at Walmart anymore. If you go to Walmart, you're still going to be in line, but you have the option to go to self-checkout. And it seems like the music industry is in a space where the focus is now really just on the bottom line. The music industry is always going to be a business, right? But I felt like in earlier years, there was a balance where talent, musicality, the actual art still played a role, and the business was just to ensure that all of that art and talent could be showcased. Now we've gotten to the space where it's business, bringing all the money, and then the talent doesn't really matter as long as you're deemed marketable. You know, as long as you can get some Spotify listeners, because hey, FN Meka got 600,000 plus, you know, listeners on Spotify. You know, we're now in a space where all of these talented artists, you know, that are trying to get on, they're never really gonna, if they don't have that support on Instagram, TikTok, the different streaming sites, if they already don't have the clout and the buzz and they're not in all the blogs, and this is why you're even seeing with a lot of the current entertainers, they have to constantly be up in some drama to keep their names out there. And a lot of times there's so many entertainers, rappers, singers that are out there, I don't know any of their music, but I know all their business because they always got something going on. Like, that's literally what the music industry has kind of morphed into. And so now we're in this space where it's all about the dollar at any expense. So even if it means kind of mocking the things that are detrimental to the black community collectively, like police brutality, cool, let's go ahead and do it if it's going to get us a check, because I guess this is supposed to bring some street cred. And so you're just kind of seeing things just, I don't know. It's one of the reasons why even like with K-pop, I could never get into it, mainly because, yeah, there's an element of entertainment and they're great singers and dancers, but they come off so mechanical to me because, you know, when you look into their backgrounds, they grow up in what you call like these K-pop camps where from childhood they just spend years singing, dancing, back and forth, training. They finally get old enough to get signed. They get put on a label and the label pushes them out there with the machine. And it seems like so many of the K-pop acts all have the same aesthetic, the same kind of sound, same kind of imaging, same kind of video, same kind of budget, it's all the same. It's very just, you know, structured, and it doesn't have that raw appeal. Like for me as a fan of music, you know, I love to hear the stories where it's like, oh, I used to play the buckets on the corner, and one day some random guy was like, I'll give you $10 if you can play the drums in my church because my drummer just quit. And then I learned how to play the drums, and somebody at another thing saw me and signed me to play for this artist when they went on tour. Or, you know, me and my siblings didn't have any toys, but my grandma had a piano, so I used to play the piano every day, and I taught myself how to play by ear when I was 7. Like, you know, those kind of artists you're not really seeing anymore, because at this point, the industry recognizes that they can just manufacture things and put things out super, super fast, because we're also in a space where the attention spans have gotten shorter by the masses, and this is why artists have to put more and more out more frequently, especially in the era of streaming. I don't remember the exec, but I remember watching the interview where he was saying, you know, for the artists that are complaining about, oh, they're not making enough money, they need to put more music out. And it's like, well, dang, we're now in a space where artists have to constantly put out singles, constantly put out music back and forth all the time in order to stay afloat in, you know, this moving train of the music industry that kind of shifts and goes into different pockets and directions. And I think it sucks, because I think as a creative person, the best thing that's on your side, your best friend, is time. It gives you an element in a space to really ensure that what it is that you're putting out is to the best that it can be. It's something you're 100% confident in, as opposed to the label gave me 2 weeks to record my album and I had to hurry up. We had to rush it out because we had a deadline. Like, I don't know. So seeing this FN Meka thing, all of this was a joke to me. I did listen to the song. It wouldn't be nothing I'd want to play, but it does sound a lot like some of the things that are already out. It's just interesting that Capitol would decide to sign that and bypass all the rappers right there in LA that are ready. Like, literally probably getting escorted out by security every day because they just want to have a conversation with somebody who's up top. But instead, here comes these two with this kind of digitally created stereotypical trope of what they deem as blackness or street cred, and try to push it off as a rapper. And hey, let's go ahead and sign it. And I'm telling you, had they not dropped that thing, because they did end up dropping it, or dropping the digital, they dropped FN Meka. The FN Meka ain't signed Capitol no more. But I'm sure had they been able to do the push, oh, they were going to shove this thing down our throats. I think FN Meka would have been in like the video game atmosphere as far as all the gaming thing. That music would have been licensed on all of them video games, all the Call of Duty, Grand Theft Auto. It would have been in all of that and everything. But, you know, they actually did not go on and sign it. But I want to know who at the label signed this off, because, you know, like, it had to go through a bunch of doors before it got the final okay. And so it sounds like people weren't listening, because I'm sure there had to be somebody in there that was like, this is not a good idea. You know, it's one thing to do just the AI entertainment. It is what it is. I understand the industry is going to evolve and change, but it's another thing where it's just an offensive character that's been created, and like nobody saw the red flag. Crazy. We'll see how this unfolds. Anyway, I am out. Share your 2 cents. Subscribe.